So, I've been doing some thinking and journaling this morning about some of my limiting beliefs around money, specifically around money while being an artist. Artist finances, like when I say that, my body just wants to like close up and I want to barf a little bit and also crawl into a hole and die. And it is my intention to unpack all of those things because until I do, I'm not going to make the type of money that I came here to make, and I'm not going to make it in the way that I want to make it. So I'm like, yes, I want to be rich. I want to have everything. I want to be able to live a life financially that is like, if I want something, I can get it. I don't want money to limit me from getting anything that I want or need. I want to be able to feel like I can have the type of experiences and adventures that I want to have. And so, whatever it is that those costs, that's how much money I want to be able to have comfortable access to. It is not necessarily about having the biggest house or having the nicest bags or the fanciest car, unless that is truly aligned. Like, that's my dream house, that's my dream car, that's my dream. But I want to be able to live a life that feels comfortable and abundant and like I can do everything that I want. And I'm getting there. This morning I was unpacking this idea of there's a belief that I have that I think a lot of us artists have, which is that like if we had chosen to go a different path, like we wouldn't have the money problems that we had. And I just realized this morning like that is not true. I really think to myself, like, if I had become a lawyer, which was probably what I was going to do had I not gone an artistic path, um, or if I didn't want to go to law school, because, bitch, that's also a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to be a lawyer. It really is. I'm in London right now, by the way. So, not that I needed an excuse to pop into that accent, a bad version of that accent, but you know what I mean? You get me? Um, my other common example is I could have been a dental hygienist. Um, no shade to the people who hygiene dents, but for some reason my brain thinks that's like a smart, quick way to get money because I feel like the school for that is not that long, and it's just like you could be working today, or at least that's what the commercials have told me. But I've had this idea that like, oh, because I've chosen to follow my heart, follow my creative integrity, that I'm not going to be able to be financially abundant. And I am rewiring my insides to remind myself that is not true. That is not true. I can have all of the things, I can have everything. Even the life that I am living now financially is something that kind of would blow a lot of people's minds, or like baby Makambe's minds, just the fact that I only work in the arts. I don't work Joe jobs anymore. And by Joe jobs, I mean something that's completely not art related. And mind you, I don't think there's any shame in that because I feel like you're a better artist the more you live in the world as a person. And so there is an advantage. There's something really beautiful and sacred about whether it's serving or doing some sort of a labor job or whatever it is that you're doing. There's something beautiful about that. But for myself, I know that even in the different types of jobs that I do, and some of them I'll take just purely because I'm like, I'm so passionate, and others feel a little bit more like gigs, Joe jobs, like, this feels like a good place to get some cash. But everything for me needs to be artistic. It needs to be in the artistic field because my addiction, like splitting focus too much in ways that feel like I'm working a job that doesn't feel like it's generative towards my artistic practice in a way that makes sense to me at the time feels really, really expensive and really dangerous. I have told myself that because I have not been willing to work a Joe job, that is the reason why I'm in debt. And I realized that the shame that I carry around my debt doesn't actually have to be there. That I just finished working at the Stratford Festival, and it's the biggest theater company in Canada. It's one of the big leading institutions in the world, like a big arts institution. And The Stratford Festival started the year being like, we have a $1.3 million deficit. $1.3 million. And it was said, like, it's this is public knowledge, right? It was there's articles about it. There was an announcement about it at the top of the like big company meeting that they had in the beginning of the season. So this is not something that this huge institution is ashamed of. $1.3 million. Like that, there's an attitude that, like, yeah, debt is also the cost of doing business, and like you have good years and you have years that are not so good. And now that we know that the debt is X amount, this is what our intentions are in the next year, to recoup that money or to get um that balance not in the red anymore but in the green. And just like, how neutralizing is that? How neutralizing is that? So this whole time, I've been stressing myself like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I owe money. I can't believe I owe money. I can't believe I owe money. Where the people who are paying me also owe money and they were vibing. Now, I'm sure there are people whose job it is to be like, we got to fix this number. Of course, I'm not taking that away, but that it's like it's a chapter and it's a season. Literally, it's a season. So I think we as artists can be more forgiving and gentle with ourselves about the fact that even these big institutions where we go to see like the highest production value, who are playing with really big numbers, also have really big debts. Countries and nations themselves have debts, and you're sad because of your credit card. No, Makambe. No, 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 no. I'm really unpacking these ideas for myself because I want to, and because I'm ready to, and because the more that I really think about these ideas, the more I realize, like, oh, this is actually silly. Like, I'm carrying so much more of this than I actually need to. And that's really, really good news. It's humbling. And sitting and unpacking where my beliefs about money come from, what I learned in my household growing up, has been tender and sometimes a little gross and interesting. But specifically around being an artist, as much as I am owing money to the places that I'm owing it to, I've also not fully appreciated my art because there has been this underlying belief that I'm doing you, but you're costing me money. It's kind of like if you were to take someone on a date and you were going to fund this whole thing and you had a lot of fun, but then you also feel resentful at the same time about how it costs. It's kind of an awkward energy to put on your date, right? So there's a way in which I didn't realize I was kind of being a little bit unkind to my art and my artistic practice because there's this it's tiny and it's big, this belief, right? It's like I had to search and sift through some other limiting beliefs to find this little kernel, and it feels small, but it's also the fact that it's so deep down means that it's potent, because how else did it get to wedge down in there to the point that I didn't even realize it was there? But the belief is kind of that, yes, I'm doing this for you, but it's expensive for me. It costs me something. There's a common sort of sentiment among artists when we talk about finances and are really feeling lack. We'll often say things like, "Well, I mean, at least I'm doing my dream job. Other people are making lots of money and they hate themselves. They hate their lives." And that is true, but it's also not everybody. There are lots of people who really like their lives. They have money and they like their lives. There's lots of people who don't love their jobs, but they're fine. Like, not everybody, it's not everybody who needs to come and be doing passion, 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 passion. Let me cry about it in the way that sometimes we artists can be a bit extra. I love us, by the way, but like, also, let's be real. Let's also be real. It's not every single acting job or writing job or creative job that you work that you're like, wow, my soul is fulfilled. There's a lot of jobs that we take that we are not as passionate about, that we're like, you know what, this one is just a show. Let me just get it over with. So there's something to be clarified and unpacked in the belief that we are entitled to some sort of a superiority complex because we chose to follow our passions. But like the cost of that is like now we're poor, and then our friends like went and got like corporate jobs or government jobs or something stable, and they are living better financial lives, but they're not as fulfilled as us because we are doing the real work of God and our ancestors, and we are making the world a better place rather than just collecting a corporate paycheck. We can relax. We can relax. We can relax. I didn't realize the extent to which I was carrying that. Oh, and saying that, something in my stomach just like I just put something down, something just released. Hmm. I want to have the best possible relationship I can with my art and with my artist. If my artist is a person who is inside me or is like a archetype, is that the right word? If my artist is an internal part of me that I can choose and deliberately choose to lean into and expand and grow, I want to have the best possible relationship with her. And I don't want to blame her at all for anything bad that's happening in my life because it's actually never her fault. And I've been blaming her for me not being more financially abundant, and that's not fair. I've been blaming my art, the thing that I know I came here to do, the thing that I like, I literally can't help but do it. When I don't make enough art on a daily, monthly, weekly basis, my life gets really shitty and I feel a lot of like physical and emotional pain when I'm not creating and generating and putting things out there in some shape or form, many of which you will never see. But when I'm not arting, I'm dying. So why would I have this relationship with my inner artist and with my arts practice and my art self and my creations, which is that like I need you, but you're also killing me? That's so toxic relationshipy. It's like I can't get enough of you, but also you're hurting me. What if that's not true? I also unpacked, or I'm unpacking the idea that if I wasn't an artist, I wouldn't have any financial struggles. It's such a simplification, but it's really easy for our brains to do as creatives, especially when you're freelancing, when you're full timing, when you're like looking at the friends who you graduated with who did not go down this path and they're like able to afford things that you can't afford. Um, in the group chat, I'm always the friend. Like when the girlies are like, let's plan a vacation. I've always been the friend who's been like, I'll know if I can go the month before because I just didn't know what my money was going to be or do. Like, whereas they got the same amount of money every month, every 2 weeks, so they could budget, like, okay, by this time we'll have this much money saved. Like, that's just not the way my money came in. And so I just will never, not will never, I always felt so anxious about making commitments like that because I just didn't want to not be able to meet that commitment and then disappoint them, but mostly disappoint myself because I didn't know what that cash flow would look like. And I had this belief of like, man, here are my sisters who are around my age, and they've gone down paths where they can be like, let's go on vacation this date, and each month we will save this amount of money towards going to that vacation. And I'm just like, what is that? I really internalized and simplified a belief that like they don't have any issues with money, or that they don't have debt, or that they don't have any financial goals or blocks or hiccups that they're navigating. And I just realized that that's not true. I could be I could be a doctor or a lawyer, which are the jobs we also always say about like jobs that make a lot of money. Also, it takes a lot, those jobs require a lot of work. Even before you start making money, just the school and the exams for those jobs are like so intense. Like it's not easy. Like there is still a cost to that, even though maybe the financial dividends can, depending on which route you sort of go into with those professions, even though you can end up making X amount of money, there's still so much debt that medical students incur because you're in school for so long, so much debt that like law students incur because also school is expensive. So I've been simplifying this idea that I don't have money because I'm an artist, but everyone else has money. But the reality is, these conversations that we're even having about like cost of living people feeling like things are tight, or everybody has financial goals that they want to reach. Kind of everybody I know is like, I wish I had more money, even if they're doing great. Um, and they're allowed to want more. That's not a bad thing. I don't want to judge people who want to be able to afford the things that they want to be able to afford. But it's not as simple as like, it is not my art's fault that I don't have as much money as I want. It is not your art's fault that you do not have as much money as you want. It is not your art's fault. There's lots of different factors as to why that's the case. Of course, there are things that you might be able to optimize or do better or release, but it is not the fault of your art. Your art is pure. Your art is from something that's bigger than you. Your art is sacred, and it's like we have been shaming the most tender and sacred and beautiful parts of ourselves because of money, which is made up. Do you understand? Like, money is made up, like currency is made up, like the agreement that this many pounds equals this many US dollars equals this many Canadian dollars equals this many Zambian kwacha equals this many Mexican pesos. Like, that is a system that is made up. That is a system based off of agreements that were made by people who are not us, that we inherited, that we are subscribing to. And I'm not saying that, like, it's made up and it's real, right? So the fact that it's made up doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, but just a reminder that it's made up. You know, in the OG days when like our ancestors used to just barter and give like a physical item for a physical item, yes, the value of each of those items was made up by a different system, but there was something that felt more practical about, I physically give you my cow, you physically give me three goats, or whatever it was, because now it just feels like we are controlled by these little numbers that we see on a screen. Like, we don't even pay with cash anymore. It's so fascinating. But oh yeah, the idea that, oh, money, currency, like that's made up. But there's certain things in this life that are not made up. Like, a tree is not a made up thing. I read that somewhere. I'm going to link it below. There's certain things that we have agreed cost money. And I'm not even saying we have to break that system. Like, I just have other shit to do. I don't need to break that system. But what I am saying, it is useful to remember that, like, money has value, and that money can buy me a lot of things that I want and need. But there are also things that money can't buy, that I have, that are of value. And there are things that I've been able to do with my limited amount of money that are still incredible. And despite maybe not living the highest, most paid life in Canada, like, I'm still very privileged and abundant, compared to so many people in the world. So I was thinking to myself, what are some of the things that my art has been able to give me? What has my art bought? Because, like I said, it's been about 10 years since I've worked a JoJo job, with the exception of one thing here and there. But I only work in the arts, and I'm really proud of me, because I remember setting that goal and now I'm living it, and that's worth celebrating. But my art has given me so much and continues to give me so much. And I'm a person who decided that I want my art to give me money. There are a lot of artists, we're all artists, by the way. There are a lot of artists who are like, I don't need the art to give me money. I need the lawyering job to give me money. And I just want the art to give me joy and outlet and something else. Like, I decided that I want my art to give me all of those things and also money. And it's important for me to realize that it has, and that it keeps doing that. My art has given me a lot of money. My art has paid my rent for years. My art has paid my car insurance. My art has put gas in my car. My art has gotten my nails done. My art buys me makeup and clothes. My art paid for everything that you're seeing me wear, except for this scarf, except the scarf, because my mommy gave that to me. Hi, mommy. My art has taken me on vacation. My art has taken care of the people I love. My art has allowed me to buy gifts and experiences for those around me to show how much I appreciate them and I'm thinking about them. My art has allowed me to invest in further training and practice for myself in different forms of expression. My art has allowed me to bail family members out and friends out of tricky situations financially when they needed it and I had capacity. My art has never ever let me down. Like I've never paid my rent late. Like my art has literally put food in my mouth. It does. My art has taken me to some of the most beautiful and gorgeous, quirky, bougie and not bougie restaurants. My art buys me wine every week. Like my art has paid school fees for my niece. My art has helped support the funerals of my family members back home so that they could be buried with dignity and the correct amount of grace and circumstance that they deserve. My art has sent people birthday money and surprised them. My art, my art pays for my life. My art pays for the medical things that I need. Like my art pays for my medication every month. My art pays my dental bills. My art pays for my massages and the things that I like to do to treat myself. My art pays for any coaching and therapy that I have, any sort of spiritual anything. Like my art literally pays for everything. I'm in London, England right now. I'm not home. And my art bought me a ticket to come here. Do you get me? Do you understand? Do you get me? Anyway, if you're an artist or creative, I hope that there's something in this video that was useful for you. I hope that you can be a little bit easy on yourself and just remember that like your art is working hard for you, babe. Like your art gives you so much. And it's very okay to want more. And it's very okay to want more that you it's okay to want a type of abundance that you want to flow through your art, but I think it's also important to sit in gratitude about everything that your art has given you. And I just listed a number of things that are financial, but of course, the list of things that my art has given me and continues to give me is way bigger than that. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. I love you. You are abundant and I love your inner artist and I love your art. And I'll talk to you later. Okay. Bye. Cheerio. Pip pip. England.